Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy Monday. Today
Hello.
we are talking... Hello.
Hello.
Today we're talking about intention with your business. Having intention, having intent, operating with intent.
Okay.
All that fun stuff.
Love it.
And we have a little story.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, it just happened like a half an hour ago.
Okay.
So I thought this was a good little segue
Can't wait to hear what the story is.
into our episode. So this morning we had a miscommunication. So we're planning on doing some batch recording. Now the kids are going back to school. It's the fall, or headed towards the fall. It's not officially fall yet, but
And we have 3 kids in 3 different schools.
yes.
So it's a little crazy.
3 kids, 3 different schools, obviously all at different times. So it's a juggling act.
Yes.
And this morning I thought for some reason, so I was just on my laptop with my headphones on, just bopping away working. And you were like, hey, he's ready. Our youngest son needed to get dropped off at school. And I was like, huh? I sincerely thought for whatever reason you were bringing him. And then you said,
I sincerely thought you were bringing him.
And then you were like, well, you've been bringing him on Wednesdays. And then I thought there's only been one Wednesday. School just started. So then I was more confused. But then I was like, you know what? None of this matters.
I think there's been 2.
This would be the second one.
I think this is the 3rd. Anyway.
He started last week, didn't he?
No, he went the other week before. So this is the 3rd.
Okay. Either way. So there was some confusion.
Yeah.
And rather than get annoyed, I just quickly... You ended up taking him.
I did.
I'll go pick him up later. And the point of that little story was that the intent of this time is to figure out and nail down a plan of attack that we can just sort of fall into for recording these episodes.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but when you left, I started laughing and just sort of got a kick out of it because it's easy to just get annoyed.
Yes.
If you don't have that focus, which I'm using, I think I use focus interchangeably with intention.
Okay. I like it.
And I just wanted to say that because if people don't, if I keep saying it and people are like, what is he talking about? But as far as a business or your career goes, if you don't have intent, you don't really have a way to, as I put it, a lot of times steer the ship.
Correct.
So your ship might be going and it might be going fast. You might be thinking, I'm doing well. But as I guess the saying goes, you have to keep your eye on the prize. Is that the saying?
I think it is.
So you have to keep your eye on the prize, which is focus.
Right.
Intent.
And the prize in that case would be the vision and the mission of your business, right?
Yeah, your goals, your clarity.
Yeah, where are you trying to go? Where do you want to be? All of that.
Exactly.
And when you lose that, I mean, that ship can sink quickly, just as much as it's sailing quickly.
Yeah, I think I have some notes to talk about later because we do see that. We do see businesses in all industries. This isn't hair specific, but that are chugging along and you're like, wow, that's doing great. And then there's a close sign on the door.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday on Instagram.
Yeah. And we used to see that in the gym world. It's funny. I actually considered starting a group with some friends called Open Sign because we were seeing gyms and we were just seeing close sign, sorry guys, close. Sorry, we couldn't make it close. Sorry for the community, closed.
Which is kind of what you're seeing with salons right now. Or at least I have seen a bunch.
So it's funny because the industry, we're going to talk about money in a different episode. I think we're recording today, but the industry is growing, but it's really going to be, the cream is going to rise to the top.
Yeah.
It's going to be survival of the fittest. And the cream and the fittest are the people that are going to understand business and value operating with intent.
Yes. I was just going to say business and customer experience, which is value.
For sure.
Because I think we've talked about this a lot. The customer experience part, I feel, over whether it's the last few years or however long, has been ignored. I feel like it's been more about the stylist or the barber or the service provider and not about the client, which we're a client-based business. So.
Yeah, this is a service industry. And I know a lot of people argue that and they're like, this is art. There's art behind everything. We had a plumber in here a little while back and I was like, this guy's a fucking artist. Like he was crazy. You know what I mean? There's art in every field, any work that you can do. If you're a writer, there's art in that. If you do hair, of course there's art in it. There's art in flying an airplane. There's art in everything. So it doesn't take away from the fact that we are considered literally by the government and everybody a service industry.
Right.
Because we provide
And I think that's
services.
forgotten often.
Yeah.
And I'm here to remind it often.
So as you know, if you've been listening, I always have my notes. Sometimes they're in an order, sometimes they're not. But let's kick off with operating with intent gives you clarity of your purpose. Mm-hmm. So it answers questions which you talked about, like your mission and stuff, which is like, why am I in this industry?
Right.
What do I hope to achieve? Mm-hmm. And that sort of becomes your beacon, your guiding light.
Yep.
And it helps you make decisions, which we always talk about. Your decisions come from your core values.
Right. And without it, you're truly lost, or you're just shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
I think that's a saying.
Maybe. Operating with intention also allows you to set goals.
Yes.
Which I believe get overlooked often. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times we'll talk to people and they'll have a problem. And generally I'll ask two questions first, or close to first, which is, what have you tried already? Because if you haven't tried anything, then it's a whole different game than if you have a list of 20 things that you've put effort into and none of them have worked. Now we can start to think what direction we need to head into. Well, I don't even remember what I was saying. Sorry, I was moving my notes up.
What have you tried lately when you're goal setting? People a lot of times set their goals.
Why am I drawing such a blank right now? Jeez. Happy Wednesdays.
I will say this, I'll interject, because I think what happens a lot of times with goal setting, you can have a vision, a mission, all of that, and you can have your intent. But if you don't have accountability to your goals, what I find is people set a lot of goals, especially in the beginning of the new year, and they fall flat by probably like 3 months in. So you get to March and somehow you've forgotten about your goals and you've kind of lost your way. And I think if you have the intent to accomplish your goals, it's easy to steer right back into them. And if you have them laid out, you have them written down, you know where you're at in your business, then you can get right back on course to still hitting those goals by the end of the year. But that would be checking in with those goals regularly. And your intent when you're making those goals would be, maybe you have quarterly checks. So I said like 3 months in. So by March, you're like, where am I at with these goals? Shoot, I did nothing after January 3rd. No big deal. That's why you checked in March, because you can get back on track on those goals and you still are set up for the rest of the year, or you make adjustments. Same thing, another 3 months in, you check back in. I find what happens is people get to where we are now, close to the end of the year, and they never really looked back in at those goals and they can't reach them now. It's too late. You're done. So you could still reevaluate those and have a year-end goal that's for the last quarter, but the regular check-ins in those, which would be the intent that you put in when you start making your goals, will help you actually reach them to the end of the year.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff's all important. I remember what I want to say now.
Okay.
I kept
You're
thinking,
welcome. I caught you there.
Thanks. I kept thinking about, so what have you tried already? My follow-up to that question, which is not what I was thinking, is what were the outcomes? Mm-hmm. And that kept popping in my head. But my other question that I like to ask, either first or second, is what are we even trying to accomplish?
Right.
Like, what do you want the goal to be?
Mm-hmm. And I think people have a hard time with that.
Yeah, sure. And that's why we ask it.
I want to be busy. I want to make money. Okay, but
what does that mean?
Like, yeah.
And I need some whys.
Yeah.
And
to everybody, that's very different.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that 5 whys thing where I just keep asking why over and over, but it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, having intent with anything is important with your business. We just did a little mini photo contest with our staff, and this is a good example. The first contest was you got to get a picture of your client, and you get a point for that, or whatever we did. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm kind of paraphrasing, and the picture has to include the person's eyes. And then someone was like, why? Why is that important? Because it takes away from the hair. And so I just broke it down. Like our target clients, since we've defined what those look like, don't really care much about the back of a head. They can find that anywhere, and they understand that because they're intelligent. They're people.
Right.
You can go on Instagram. You don't even need to be intelligent to realize if you just open Instagram, you'll see the back of heads.
Right. But the eyes help the stop scrolling.
Yes, the eyes are a way that we connect.
Yes.
And by showing the eyes and showing the face in turn, our clients understand that those people are having a good time.
Right.
They're having fun. Our clients want great services that they perceive value in, and they also want their time to be respected. So like those are some things that went to this contest being developed. Right?
And we were trying to create good habits with the staff so that they could have fun. But think about it, over a month.
Sort of learn and not really feel like you're learning. You're just,
they don't have to really think about it. They're just trying to win a contest.
Yeah.
But
we had some bomb prizes too.
We did. But in doing that, we were trying to create good habits for our staff so that hopefully going into the next month, they're like, I really need to capture the face, the eyes. Like it was to create that kind of movement. Also, I think what's important here is for those of you who don't know, I've done hair for like 25 years. So I've worked in a lot of salons, and a lot of times there are just contests just to be a contest.
Right.
So when we go back to intention, we had a contest, but the intention behind the contest was to create good habits in our salon for our social media moving forward. So even with everything we do within Hello, we have intention behind it. What do we want to get out of this? What's the purpose? I find more often, like I said, people just run a contest like, here, win a prize. Like, let's get people motivated. But what are we motivating them for? What's coming out of it? And if you're just blindly throwing out contests with no intention at all, you're not going to get anywhere with your business. That ship's not going to get further along. So I think the contest that we ran, I think the takeaway from that is the intent of what we wanted out of it was what we got in return. And we're seeing more of those pictures moving into the next few months because everybody's kind of on that track now.
Right.
And we made it fun.
Right. And it stands out more than the back of a head, which there's nothing wrong if you're out there listening and you just post only the back of heads. Now, here's the second part of our contest. So we did a follow-up contest the next month. We gave like a week or two off, right, to regroup. And the contest was continuation. So you had to see the eyes and you had to use a prop. Mm-hmm. So you had to give something to the client, and it couldn't be like their coffee cup that they came in with. It needed to be something else, and it could be anything. We provided them with lists and examples. And again, the intent behind this was because we hear most people aren't comfortable with their face on camera. Okay. So instead of just accept that as your fate and never stand out ever, the solution becomes let's make them comfortable. So by giving somebody a fun sign or a frame or a mirror that they're taking their picture through, it's a bomb one. Shout out Gianna.
That was killer.
It creates interest for your content, and it helps the stylist not worry so much because the client's having fun, and it helps the client relax. And if we just ran a contest about getting pictures, it would have just been random, and it
would have got boring fast.
Yeah.
And it created engagement with the staff. Like it was really, everybody had fun.
Yeah. Cool. And when our staff asks, we use Slack for our internal communication. And when our staff asks why, I love it. I went in there and wrote like 7 paragraphs. Yeah. Like, here's why, here's exactly my thought process. And then if you have feedback, let us know, because that's part of our intent is to create an atmosphere, not only for our clients, but for our employees, our staff.
We want them to want to come to work and do creative stuff.
Everyone, it's funny because a lot of places talk about culture, but I don't think you can necessarily define that. Like, what are your metrics? How do you measure culture?
Right.
So I think doing these things with intent is just important.
Yes.
For that stuff. I think we touched on decision making, but that was my next one. It was focused decision making. So when you have a business or even a career, so say you're an independent person you've got to figure out your pricing. You've got to figure out your marketing strategies. You've got to figure out, marketing, how you're going to get clients consistently. You've got to figure out your future, all the things.
Yeah.
So it's not just owning like a physical business, but just even having a career. Where are you going? What are you doing? Who are you bringing with you? You have to have intention and focus, and you've got to figure those things out, or you're going to get to a point where we talk to people all the time in this situation where they didn't do these things. And now they're like, I don't know if I want to rent a chair anymore.
Right. Yeah, I think it's important.
And they can, they still can. They just are going to have to do the work now that they should have done.
Well,
10
and I
years
think
ago.
what happens, especially people that go out on their own, or even you open a new business, if you don't have a lot of this stuff laid out, and it's going to be always evolving, because you can lay it out and a problem will arise and you'll have to switch kind of how you do things because potentially you didn't think of this problem. But anyway, it's like you're going to have, so if we talk salon world, you're going to have radios, you're going to have client complaints, you're going to have a lot of negative things that come too. And those are the ones that I think can become the most overwhelming, and to the point where you're like, I want to quit, because you didn't have a system in place. You didn't have intent for your business of, well, how am I going to handle when some of this negative stuff comes my way? Because prior to wherever you worked, they probably handled it for you. So if you're not in a position where you laid out, okay, when these come my way, this is how I'm going to even have a system to work through it so that it doesn't like bog down my day with just all negativity. How are you going to handle a complaint on social media? What are you going to do? Because you can't just ignore this stuff. This is part of owning a business. This is part of being in a business. These things happen not maybe daily, but often enough. So you need to have intent for setting up yourself to handle also the negative things that will come your way, so it doesn't totally encompass a whole day or week where your mind doesn't know how to get out of it.
You're hilarious. So the next thing I was going to say was, when you operate with intention and you have focus, you're able to focus then on what matters and ignore distractions.
See?
Not
Here
necessarily the same exact thing, but
Yeah.
So for example, buying every new product line that comes out and thinking somehow you'll see an immediate return. That's what I had in my notes for an example. Because we see
just
that.
because someone offers you all the new shit does not mean you have to carry it. Don't do that. Oh my gosh.
No soapboxes, Jen.
Drives me
just
insane.
Kidding. Yeah, so those are just distractions, and they're distractions because you don't really have a purpose, a goal, a vision, a mission, core values for your business. So you're just operating. And when things go stale or you hit a plateau, which 100% of the time is going to happen, you go, what can I change? And it's not necessarily that you needed to change anything. You just didn't define anything. So you're investing money in, for that example, a new product line that you think for some reason is going to do what? Bring people in?
And I have advice here. If you think you do need a change, a new product line is, to me,
should align
not
with
the path. It should be a brand change or something like.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
something that aligns with what you're offering as your salon name or whatever it is, because a company's new product, and again, if it should align with what you're doing, like I think was what you were saying, that's not going to be the answer. That's like that, like buying the chapstick when you are at checkout, like the quick thing that you think is going to just like do something for you to make you feel good. If you're looking at your business and it's feeling stagnant, it's not moving, it's the brand part. Where's the vision, the mission, the core values? What do you need to do for that? Like focus on that like sets you apart. A product line doesn't do that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And products are important. We need them to do work, but at the end
don't have to be your defining moment though.
No, I don't understand that, but that's popular. I think the big brands pushed that back in the day, and now it's just what people just believe in because it's just what's been done in the past.
And they're not thinking past it and
that's
what works for them.
exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. You have to. You know what else is funny? Building a strong brand is next on my list here. So yeah, we've already talked about this a million times, but your business's intention or your intent when you're building your business, that's what forms the foundations.
The most important part.
We have exercises that we run through with people to figure out their mission, to figure out their vision, their core values. And sometimes it takes a while to go through, and it changes, and it takes a while, and it's a lot of work because it's what sets up your freaking business to operate
so you can make all the decisions
to come. Yeah. And you want a brand that is cohesive, right? Also, so when you're all over the place, you don't have a brand that resonates with the target audience. You probably don't even have a target audience. If your target audience is, we do everyone's hair, I can do any hair, that's not a very good target audience.
Right. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what you're trying to attract.
And it's really hard to build loyalty. It's really hard to build trust when you just are lackadaisical with defining anything.
Don't be the Tasmanian devil in the industry. Just literally kicking up dirt.
Oh God, I know those people. Moving on to customer relationships. I think you talked about this a little bit ago. It's a reflection, or your intent is, it goes past like building your business now to how you treat your clients.
Absolutely. If there's one thing that you even take out of this podcast, I'm going to say level up your customer experience. Figure out what can you do better in there so that client comes in and sees all the value that is in your salon or your space.
Yeah. It's super important. You want your clients to feel amazing. You want your clients to feel confident. You want them to feel all these things, but you're not providing it.
Right.
Like when someone asks a question and you're like, and now I'm not saying you have to know the answer to everything, but when they ask a question about your brand or something, like, you should be able to answer it. Mm-hmm. When you're like, I'm not sure why we did that. Yeah. Or we just kind of brought that on randomly to try it out. That's not a good answer.
Yeah.
And now your clients are thinking, there's really not a plan here. What else is there not a plan for? And I promise you, this is how people think.
Yeah.
The other thing it allows you to do is this is kind of swinging in a different direction, but to assess your business honestly. Mm-hmm. So without intent, it's super easy for you to say things like, oh, I meant for that to happen. When things are going good, right? You take all that credit. Who has not done that? Right? Things are going awesome. You didn't plan them, but you're like, yep, I'm the leader.
Totally planned that.
Totally. And then when things go bad, you think, damn, who could have saw that coming?
Right.
You deflect. So you can't do that and expect that you're going to have more of those I meant for that to happen moments, because that's not how the world operates. And you're going to get thrown a bunch of those, damn, who could have seen that coming, in a row. And that could break you. Yeah. That could break a business.
Absolutely.
We've talked to people that are like, I'm at my wit's end.
Yeah.
And we go back to like, well, what have you done?
Right.
And why? And what were the outcomes? And what do you want the outcome to be?
What did you learn from them?
Right. What did you learn from them?
And where do you want to be? Because, sometimes you do hit those bumps and your vision, might need to change. Can you handle them anymore? I don't know.
Yeah. Adaptability. Literally next. Did you take my notes? I'm
just on point. I'm on point today.
So your intention gives you those very clear, defined paths in your business, but it also allows for flexibility because you know what you're operating within. Right. You know the parameters. We talk about this all the time with our staff. We have our set of rules, and we expect that everyone manages themselves. Mm-hmm. We do not like micromanaging. That's not the same as not checking in with people, and that's not the same as, you are on your own.
Right. We're still leading them, but we don't need to.
Yeah. Like if somebody misses cleaning, I don't remember that happening, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Somebody misses something, we're going to address it.
Yeah.
It's not a free for all.
It's a check-in. What's going on?
But my point is that our team understands that they can operate themselves with they can put their unique spin, their touch on their services. They can have a signature, I call it. You know what I mean?
Right.
As long as it fits our business, mission and our values.
They understand what's expected.
Of course, the hair industry has trends. The trends change. Not that much, but they change with like the seasons, right?
Cowboy Copper.
Just like any other any other business, right? Seasons change.
Yes.
So you've got to be able to stay on top of that without being a spaz,
Yes.
right? Cowboy Copper.
It's stupid.
It may be stupid, and I make fun of the names all the time, but I tell you what it is. It's fun.
I agree.
And people like it. And I make fun of like caramel macchiatos, and because there was
it's so in my wheelhouse too. So I just have to Cowboy Copper going on every day. So it's so cool.
Was it last year was the coffee drinks or the year before? But everyone was just posting coffee drinks.
You're going to see probably pumpkin latte soon because that's where we're at, right?
I'll just stay off of social media until pumpkin goes away.
It's here to stay.
Anyways, it allows you to adapt. And I think that's really cool because you're not just flying around adapting or reactively, changing, but you're proactive. Like, what can I change? How can I improve my intent?
Yes.
And on the flip side, thinking that you can ignore stuff because business is good, or you get this a lot, like
thing to do.
My clients love me.
My clients do love me.
Yeah, I'm sure. But if you ignore your business and operating with intent, that's the worst business plan you can ever have. And I would say literally. I'll put the word literally.
Literally.
And again, it might not be today or tomorrow, but it will catch up to you.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Motivation. This is a big one. And resilience kind of lumped in together, but knowing what you're trying to accomplish could be a great motivator for people. Especially during some sort of, this is where the resilience comes in, but some sort of a challenge. You're going to have a challenging times.
Yes.
You're not going to open a business, or you're not going to start a career and just every day is going to be amazing and better.
Every day is unicorns and leprechauns.
Yeah.
In the pot of gold.
I mean, maybe if people start
And if you've had that for a bit, good for you. But it's just reality that there are ups and downs. So eventually you will hit something, some road bump, and how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah, and even going back to your purpose, which is your mission, so a challenge is going to remind you, or your intent, if you operate with intent, is going to remind you of your purpose and why you started this in the first place. Whether you, again, started a business or you started in the career. Why are you here?
And it is really important, especially if you want to be in it long term, like myself. If you forget that, you're dead in the water there.
Do you have any specifics on that? I know you've gone through a lot of challenges.
So I don't have specifics, but I think there are definitely times. So I can think back to even one of my salon worlds where I worked in a salon. I remember wearing I quit socks every day until I finally quit.
I think you've told this on the podcast
every day. It just gave me a chuckle, a pep in my step. I knew it was like time for me to go, but I didn't know how to do it, and I was scared. So like literally wore these I quit socks for probably months. I mean, I don't even know how long, till finally I did quit. And then, that transfers in, and I went out on my own, and there were moments even in there that I wanted to quit. When there were client complaints, or I got a redo, or it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But I guess in that part of my life, I loved doing hair so much that the love for hair, I didn't have a vision or a mission, or if I did, it wasn't like very clear to me. The love for hair kept me going, and the love for just client relationships kept me going. And then when we came into prior to owning Hello, I had that salon. I pretty much wanted to quit a lot, very often, but that's because there was no purpose. There was no intent there. I couldn't wrap my mind around anything we were doing except just hair and hiring people and trying to figure out how to pay bills. Like that was pretty much that whole time. And I'm sure a lot of salon owners or people can relate to that. Like, we were just kind of like treading water. More
than that, we'll admit it.
Yeah, that's just how life was. And so I got to a point with that salon where it couldn't get past, where the vision was that I had versus what the vision was that my partner had at the time. And
so for the audience, had you guys laid out a vision?
No, nothing.
And mission and all that stuff?
Nothing of that. We didn't open it to be a business. Like, if I even explained to you how it opened and got started, you'd be like, what the frig? Like, it just...
That's another episode, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, that would be great to go on. So no, there was nothing except we do hair and we're going to now open a salon and hire people to work with us. Like, that was pretty much it. And, stupid thinking of some people in the business, like, and we're going to make $1 million. Like, somehow if you own a salon, you just make $1 million. That is absolutely not true. Anyway, fast forward, I was done having my last child and kind of looked, or like done having kids and like looked at my future, like, where am I at? I'm in my 40s. What am I going to do? I still love doing hair and I want to do hair. So that love carried me all the way through to where now I had a vision of what I wanted to do in the hair world, but I knew I couldn't do it under that roof. So this is where Hello started. And this vision of like educating and teaching and helping stylists understand how to raise prices and do it confidently and just, I don't know, work in a way where I guess you could have flexibility and freedom and where you went into work and you were excited to be in there and you just got to do creative hair.
Because you had a plan? Because
there was a plan. So when we have, and don't get me wrong, we've had bumps in the road at this salon where I wanted to quit too.
That's the point.
That's just real life. Like it's real, but yet in this case, I still have my love for hair, but there's the vision and the mission of where I want this salon to be and what I want to create. And so that really helped me pick myself up quickly, change my mindset, pivot and innovate when necessary, and not feel so flat, which I had felt prior. So prior, just the love of hair kept me going, where now I'm like, it's the love of hair plus everything that we've laid out that we want to accomplish within this space of Hello. And that has made it really like anything, like a bad review comes in and I'm like, cool, let's answer it. What are we doing? And when it comes in, I'm like, it generally isn't even anything really at what we're doing. They didn't like one thing. Like it used to devastate me, where now I'm like, okay, I looked at it, reflected on it, you answer it. Cool. Let's move on. It just proves we're doing everything right. Like, I don't know, the stuff that used to just really crush me doesn't, because there is a vision, there is a mission. We're running this with so much intent that like, I'm just excited to grow a business where people want to work.
And that brings us to my next point, attracting like-minded.
Oh, look at that.
People. Jeez.
Check it out.
I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Every time you say something, I'm like, that's literally the segue into, it's like we've been doing this a while together.
Guess so.
We might as well dive into this. That was great stuff, though. And I think there's so much stuff to unpack, but we're up against it here with time-wise, so we're not going to.
That's just my quick story for you.
But we can dive into that stuff on a different episode because there's a lot there. But like having...
And that's just being honest, right?
We talked about it earlier. Having that intent and focus allows you to ignore the distractions. Yep. And when I tell you negative reviews, for example... I know can devastate people, but they shouldn't. You are never going to make 100% of people happy. You have to look at it like it's just subjective. They don't like the color. They don't like the tone, whatever. Maybe you misunderstood. If you're getting bad reviews all over the place, different story.
Absolutely.
If you're getting one-offs here and there, but everything else is 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever.
Totally normal.
That's good.
Yep.
In fact, I believe Google rewards you for stuff like that. But anyways, different episode.
I think so too.
But you want to attract like-minded people, whether you're a business owner. How many now hiring posts have you seen in the past couple months?
A bazillion.
Yeah, millions. Not millions, but
a bazillion.
Hundreds for sure. A bazillion.
A bazillion.
Confirmed. A bazillion.
Yeah, it's a bazillion.
Even if you're an employee at a place, though, by running yourself with intent and having a focus, you're going to attract people that want to work alongside you. Mm-hmm. If you have friends that are in the industry, as long as they align with your values, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't bring each other along.
I agree.
You find a cool place you want to work at and settle into for a bit. You want to do it with friends.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, if I want to work with them, I tell them I want to work with you at some capacity.
Yeah, I've done that too.
You know who you are.
I don't even mean friends necessarily, just people that you respect or people you look up to, because you don't have to be friends with people to work with them and to appreciate their skill and what you can bring to the table and what they can bring to the table. For example, one of our core values is education, and we always try to take it a step further than what we see everyone else doing. That was a recent episode, maybe even last week's. I don't know when this will air, but anyways, intention with your business. In closing, I think you need to think about it. It's more than just making money. It's about creating a meaningful business that you're proud of, that leaves an impact on your clients, hopefully positive, positive impact on your employees. And if you can build it far enough along, maybe even the industry, you can impact the industry is what I'm trying to say.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. I think that sounds good for today. Let's get out of here. Thanks for listening. Thanks everyone. Bye.